I have to say my name? No, right? I don't have to say I'm Kyle Mylan. I'm Kyle Mylan, and you need to watch my LinkedIn Lives because you're gonna learn some shit, and sometimes I'm funny. Damn. Don't do what I say, just watch what I do and duplicate it. I haven't spent 22 years in manufacturing to not know what I'm talking about. You need to watch my content. Kristen, Kyle, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for having us. Come on.
Just wrapping up our trip, 3 days. And the big takeaway here is I never travel any place just to see one person. So when you sales guys are out there traveling, you need to then try and find 1 or 2 or 3 other people to see.
The commodity manager of Electrolux wanted me to text her. That was her preferred method of contact. She was getting 200 emails a day. She said, just text me. This was 5 years ago. I'm like, okay. Literally could get her every time.
What's up, guys? Kyle Mylan here with Manufacturing Tribe TV. Today we're at MD&M Minneapolis show.
You're always going to remember that person that was different than everybody else. So it's talk standing out and being unique.
We're back with another episode. We've increased some of our production value, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. Brett's got a question. How segmented do you make the emails every 2 to 4 weeks? Are you sending to the broad group of contacts or do you customize? I think that you could do it both ways, but I think in general, everybody needs to see your content. Everybody needs to see something that you're creating and something that you can provide value to.
You can tell a story a whole lot faster in a 3-minute video than you can in a 14-page article or 10 2-page articles.
Everything's about brand awareness and content right now, and it will continue to be that. So focus on producing some sort of content, and if you're selling B2B, which I'm assuming most people here are, focus on LinkedIn.
Number one, we do not charge for this stuff. I put all of my content out there for free. Send it to somebody that you feel may get some value out of it, and also engage. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. We'll get to all of the comments after the break. Those comments mean the world to us because it shows that you guys care. So don't just sit there and watch, but please engage and hit those thumbs on LinkedIn.
What is up, guys? I'm Kyle Mylan, and I know I said that we were going to be taking a break from LinkedIn Lives for a little bit to do some behind-the-scenes footage, which we've been doing. We've been keeping up with it. But I just couldn't help but try this out, bringing in some guests into a show. This is a new series that we're testing out where we're just going to talk. Like, this is not going to be some stuffy, formatted type of Q&A with these manufacturing industrial experts. It's going to be a little bit more relaxed and raw because I've just seen too much of the, here's a question, give me your answer, move on to the next question. So we're throwing that away and just going in and having conversations with people that typically kick ass and dominate in their industry. So without further ado, we're going to bring in our guest today, which is Nicole Wolter from HM Manufacturing. There's Nicole. What's going on, Nicole?
How are you?
I'm awesome. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself because you're probably way better at it, but don't be too humble with all your accolades that you've gotten.
I feel like I'm sick of introducing myself, but I'm Nicole Wolter. I am president of HM Manufacturing. We are a second-generation manufacturer of timing belt pulleys, gears, splines, shafts, primarily for the food processing, beverage, packaging, aerospace and defense, and medical industries. So definitely a lot of things that we do. We are a young team. The average age out in the shop is 32 years old. So that is like my claim to fame. I absolutely get excited about that. And we're all about innovation and adding state-of-the-art stuff.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Guys, everybody watching live, make sure you leave questions and comments in the comment section because we will be pulling those in throughout this conversation that we have with Nicole. Anything that you guys want to ask me, her, or both of us, leave them in the comment section, and Lara will be pulling them in as they come through. The first thing, and we kind of talked about this before, first thing I want to talk about, Nicole, to get this thing started is haters. Let's talk about hate. Nicole and I were talking about this, and how do you feel about, like, how much hate have you gotten throughout your career in manufacturing?
So I feel like in the beginning, the hate was a little bit different than what the hate is now. So the hate in the beginning was because I didn't know what I was doing, right? I was like so green. I was kind of following my dad around, like shadowing him. I felt like the hate was like primarily just like in my own company and just not really knowing. And of course, like, oh, daddy's little girl, what is she doing here? Like she doesn't know not anything. So I decided that it was time to get smart. So I did that, right? So I did precision machining classes. I'm NIM certified in CNC programming, and CAD as well. Like I am fully versed in SolidWorks, and I thought it was really great to be able to do everything in the company, no matter what it is. Like I will still go out in the machines, I will still run machines, I will still pack if I need to pack and assemble and do flanges and inventory management, whatever I need to do, I do. But the hate that I get now is actually kind of odd. So, I'm really into having interns, and whether it's for social media and branding and marketing, or it's for engineering. And I post all the time about this because I think it's such a great thing to do with local communities, and getting interns so they can understand at a young age what manufacturing is. And I've had a couple people who, like, just for no reason, will post on LinkedIn being like, why is she not wearing safety glasses and why isn't her hair pulled back? Well, sir, because we're just taking a picture of her taking pictures. She's not running machines. She's not doing anything that's going to put her in harm's way. And so sometimes I feel like your social justice warriors, per se, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, like they're just looking for issues. And I'm very vocal about politics in terms of what it does for small business and manufacturers in general. And I definitely had my fair share of comments of people being upset about it. But that's okay. I feel like someone's gotta take the abuse, which is fine. I'll do it. And we need to be vocal about the things that we're dealing with as small manufacturers and small business.
Yeah, and like being vocal. So like the classic way to respond to that is like you said, right? Like we want to have this professional appearance. Like, well, sir, it's because of this. But how I feel like most people, especially Nicole and I, want to respond is like, dude, who fucking cares, right? Like, why are you in my section commenting this? I just posted a video yesterday of a response that we got to an email marketing campaign, and how I wanted to respond to them was different than how we did respond to them. But I just feel like there's so much like, well, if I say this thing, or if I do this thing, or if I express my true colors, then is it going to negatively impact my business? Is it going to come back to bite me in the ass or something like that? But like I just feel like if anybody's watching this and does that, dude, just stop, because nobody cares. And all it does is just put the person that created the content in a position to laugh. Because it's not like we're going to get angry at it, but it's just ridiculous. And they may not think that they're trolls, but it's basically trolling content to make a comment. Like everything should be positive, right? That's how I feel.
I mean, yeah, it's what's sad is like you see like these 16, 17, and 18-year-olds that are interning that are running the social media, all of my social media, including my page, the company's page, everything. And so when they see comments like that, it's like very discouraging for them because they're young and they think that they're doing something cool and worthwhile. And they are, right? It's a skill set that we're using, that we're trying to kind of curate and bring to the next level. And so when they see the trolling, it only worsens their experience for being in the industry.
Yeah, and that's where I want anybody that's dealt with this to leave a comment in the comment section below. Have you ever what's the worst thing that anybody said to you? That's what I want to know in the comment section, to see if anybody's brave enough to be like, dude, this is the worst thing that anybody's ever said. It's like, so like in sales and marketing, you got to get used to rejection, right? That's just part of the process. If you're going to go in sales, you have to be able to have somebody tell you no, or have somebody say some hateful stuff back, and still move on to where it's not going to kill your day. You're not going to get super pissed off. You're just going to keep on moving on. But the same thing goes with marketing. If you're trying to do things and you believe in your core that you're just trying to provide value and help people, and then people are just going to send you some hate back, man, it's like F them, and just take it on the chin and move on and try and get more of that, because then maybe you can make some funny video series on it, which is what we're going to try and do here at MFG Tribe with Lara. But yeah, I feel like too often people are being a little bit too kind to the people that are not kind to themselves because they're worried about, repercussions of it.
Yeah.
And same thing with like whether it's your patriotism, or if you believe in American manufacturing and you're flying, like I fly an American flag in my neighborhood just because I'm a patriot, not because of anything else, and I get hate for that, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. That especially in Texas, in the neighborhood that I live in, that there are people that view the sign of an American flag as something other than what it is. And that's just getting
It's a
frustrating.
shame. Yeah, I think it's a shame. I think we've kind of gotten a little bit too happy on the keyboards. And that's unfortunate because we're all here for like a common goal, a common purpose, and that's to make manufacturing what it used to be. We are all a part of this community. And so it's just sad when like you see the little trolls just come up and yeah, there's been times where I wanted to lose my shit and say like, you know what, like I've had it, like let's see you go be on TV and see the questions that they ask you and how you handle them. I'm doing the best that I can because I'm always so worried about the people here at HM, like my team. And so when I'm seeing things on the front lines, I want to protect them and also showcase like what's happening, let people be aware of what I'm seeing, not just on my shop floor or in manufacturing in general, but for the community. And so that's fine. I take that responsibility. But at the same token, it's so obnoxious.
Yeah, that's where people need to understand. If you're a American manufacturing company and you're flying an American flag, that makes complete sense, right? And people should not give hate for that. Like we're not talking politics or anything like that, right? It's just supporting the country that you own a business in. But I've dealt with the same things where there's things that I don't say or do because I'm worried about like what are the repercussions. What I really want to say to people is different from what I actually do. But we get comments all the time. Like this episode of this live, Nicole has no idea what the questions are that we're going to talk about. So it can be nerve-wracking to people, and anybody that leaves a ton of comments that are negative, it's like, let me see you do this, right? Like, let me see you go on camera unprepared and just say something, or even prepared and say something and feel comfortable and have it coming off natural. And most people can't do that. So why hate on those that is something that they can do? You need to try and just applaud them. You don't have to agree with them. Just say, hey, good job. I'm sure it was nerve-wracking being on that TV show.
Yes, but I'll still take my haters because they're good for value and I have to comment all the time. So it's just kind of going through the whole internet, which is fantastic. So more views, more everything. So I'm fine with it. So continue on.
Yeah, it gives content, right? Like Laura's like, I want to do a whole series of, and you mentioned it on a comment on the post, like Jimmy Kimmel read mean tweets, right?
Yeah.
Like Kyle reads mean comments back, just blind comments that I'm going to read on screen. We're going to do something like that in the very near future because I feel like it's entertaining, right? It's funny.
It is. I mean,
and we'll see what my response is
too. So
yeah.
We can't make fun of ourselves, and we have no business being in the business.
Exactly. All right, let's talk about women in manufacturing, and talk to me about like if there's what advice do you have for younger generation women that are thinking about or toying with the idea of getting into manufacturing?
Yeah. Well, I just feel like even like 10 years ago, it's definitely changed. But I would suggest to find a mentor. For what I do, I will take any high schooler that is just maybe interested, whether it's business, right? And get to your local high schoolers and say, hey, we're offering internships, maybe a part-time job, maybe it could just be for like a quick little summer thing. And invite them. I think it's so important to do that. But for girls, it's different, right? I mean, I remember being in a class in chemical engineering classes, and I was the only girl, and that can be really intimidating. And so I would suggest, like, if you primarily have more of a male dominated team, to maybe look to see if you have more females that can come with you and showcase that you do have some diversity as well. I think that's important so that they don't feel so isolated and alone. And encourage that, right? Encourage that you're going to have stuff for them to do, that they're going to learn. It's a fun shadow program. Encourage their skills, listen to them. I've been really good about that. I've learned so much from like these younger kids. It's hilarious, the things that they like bring up to me, the things that they want to do. Like we started a TikTok just for them, and that's been a lot of fun. And the guys out in the shop have really gotten into it, and they just can't wait till they're like TikTok famous and go viral. So that's been really cool too. But for the younger females, just get involved however you can. Show up places. LinkedIn's a great platform to like message other owners and see if they can come in. Like I said, with the internships, go to your counselors, see if they even have a program where they can kind of be like that bridge between the manufacturers to the high schoolers. And that's how I did it. I went to my local community. I went to the high schools. I said, okay, like I would really like to start this program. I know you have a manufacturing program. You have a STEM program. You have this Future Business Leaders of America program. How can I get some of these kids involved? Because, you know, they may not all be in manufacturing per se, like run machines, but they're going to be in advertising, they're going to be in marketing, they're going to be in sales, they're going to be in estimating and quoting. They're going to do a lot more than just what everyone thinks is manufacturing. So I've opened my doors, and I've talked to a lot of these counselors as well, and the people that are the principals there. And we've been really good about trying to get these younger kids, primarily younger women, to see what manufacturing is all about. And then, you know, curate like a really positive experience for them. You know, be flexible. They're not always going to show up every day. They're not going to show up on time. But that's okay. Kind of roll with the punches. And, you know, they're kids, right? So they're not always going to want to stay the whole time, or they're going to be days where like, hey, I don't feel good. Like I have that all the time, but it's okay. But as long as they're like understanding what manufacturing is and the new vibe of manufacturing, I think that's helpful. And of course, me being a female is even better, because I try to show them like how I've grown as a leader and as a business owner. And I think that that's empowering. So when you can mentor other females, I think that that's like the best thing that you can do, is just be open to the idea, open your doors. And, you know, 4 weeks out of the year is not that much for some of these interns that are coming in trying to get a feel for what business is, or manufacturing is, or marketing is, or whatever it is. I think it's a fun tool that we do here at HM. And every time that the interns leave, like everyone's so sad, because they bring this like fun energy that's exciting and new. And I think just kind of getting involved with your community is going to be more helpful to get more women, younger women, into this field.
Yeah, I think that this next generation, this younger generation, doesn't really understand, number one, how cool manufacturing is.
Yeah.
And also number two, how much money you can make in it, right? Like,
Well, yeah.
they'll go to college, and I'm trying to teach my kids to not be like this, but they'll go to college, they'll get a degree in something, and then they're not going to get a job to apply that degree. They end up getting a job in something that's completely different. And that's where getting into manufacturing as a trade, like my dad was a machinist. He retired after 30 plus years of being a machinist. So I grew up around it, but not enough younger kids know how cool it is. We're doing something similar here at MFG Tribe. I mean, I'm of the older group here, but our employees like Laura, who's behind the production of these shows and really my personal brand a lot. What are you, Laura, now? 26? So yeah, 26. Alex, one of our PMs, is 28. We've had people, you know, into the late teens, early 20s, but it just creates a different dynamic. Now I've got kids that are into the TikTok stuff, as am I. I'm obsessively involved in TikTok. And I learned a lot from them. They keep me young, but then even being able to use the terminology here, as well as like keeping up with the times of what the team is talking about, is always fun. It just makes it a fun place to work, right?
I think so. I mean, you're talking about the lingo. I think it's so sad. I literally talk TikTok a lot. It's just so sad. Like I'd be like, immediately no. And you know, the older generation won't understand that, but like the younger generation does. And it's funny. I go around talking TikTok lingo all the time. My dad looks at me like I'm absolutely crazy. And he goes, don't you read a lot? And I go, yeah, I read a lot. He goes, well, start acting like it. I'm like, no, TikTok's the way to be. I'm good with it.
Yeah, I mean, you're just trying to make a fun environment, right? Like that's what.
Yeah.
Like if you're not on TikTok, at least consuming it, then I don't know what you do for entertainment, right? Like where else would you go? I mean, you could go to LinkedIn, but if you're just looking for like sometimes dumb entertainment, that's what TikTok's for. But you can use it as a personal tool. You can become famous, right? Like there's not a lot of people in our industries of industrial that are doing fun things with TikTok. But I feel like you have to adapt, right? Like you have a younger generation at your company, so you guys are adapting to trends, which is going to make you adapt to technologies. It's going to make you adapt to marketing strategies and all those things. And that is what's going to make you guys successful and go to that next level in your business.
Yeah, I mean, we don't use TikTok to get new customers, right? But
Right.
it's just about having that escape, where a lot of the guys here are just like, oh, that's a fun trend. Let's do that. You know, they really want to do the tortilla challenge where like they put water in their mouth and they have to say something funny with like rock, paper, scissors, and they slap each other across the face to see if like all the water comes out. I mean, it's just so funny the things that they come to me and be like, hey, can we do this now? Can we do this now? It's like, okay, guys, like we're here to work. We're not going to just do TikTok all the time. But I think it speaks to like the culture. I think it speaks to the fact that they like want to get involved, that they find this fun, and that they like to come to work, right? Because that's what it's all about. You want to like where you're going to work. And so I don't know, it's just a fun vibe that we're doing. And my dad has actually been a part of some of the TikToks, which is hilarious. He's 79 and like such a curmudgeon. So the fact that like I've gotten him to do one of these is really funny. And actually out of all the things that we've done, he's the one that has gotten the most views of like 10,000 views. And the rest of us are like struggling at like 1,000.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. So we have a couple comments. Let's bring them in because one of them is a question directly to you, Nicole.
Okay.
They're all about Nicole. That's what this show is all about. I've gone live enough. You guys can just ask Nicole questions.
Okay.
So the first one is Jessica Wilbur says, "Let's go, Nicole. You are kick ass."
Aww. I love Jessica. She's my vibe.
Douglas says, "Do you provide flex time in your manufacturing operation? If so, must be difficult to manage when you have production demands."
So I feel like production demands lately, I can't keep up, right? So the ERP system has been phenomenal to use. We've been doing that. We actually just bought a robot, so that's exciting to try to keep up with demand and keep up with production, but it's been so hard to do so. You know, the Great Resignation is a real thing. And so no matter how much time and effort we put into our ERP system and scheduling and getting all of that with efficiency rates, and it's been so hard. So yes, it's been very difficult to manage, but we do what we can and try to shift things around as we best see it.
Yeah, I mean that's really all you can do, right? That brings up something like thinking about like flex time. Something that we just did, which at first I thought was originally I was like against it, but vacation time. And so what's trending with vacation time, and I try and stay up on what employees want, right? Because it's hard for us even to find people that want to work in the office every day. So we've got two policies here. Number one is you only have to come into the office Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You can work remote. But the other thing that I just put in place is unlimited PTO. So tell me what you think about those two things. Obviously not for your production workers.
I mean, I'm going to come work for you. I'm going to come work for you. I mean, in theory, it sounds great. It sounds wonderful, yada, yada, yada. But in manufacturing, it's just so difficult to do so, right? When you talk about production demands and like having to do that, it's just impossible. And you can only automate so much. And I've already been dealing with a lot of issues where I've had people who have quit who've taken other jobs closer to home because it's been too expensive for them to actually come to work because of gas prices and things of that nature. And it's impossible. I try to do the best I can, right? So I've done it where I'm giving everyone sick days. I never used to do that before, but I feel like just to give them just a little bit extra, I think is important to do. Especially after COVID, right? I mean, you have to deal with kids stuff. You have to deal with sometimes not feeling well. And I try to be as accommodating as possible, but I just could never see in manufacturing where you could have this kind of flexible hybrid schedule. Definitely not for the shop. The office you probably could, but we're so hands-on here and we're a small manufacturer that I feel like it's really hard to do. And I think that says pretty much what it is. Like when you're a small manufacturer, you just don't have the flexibility to be able to do all of that. I feel like when you're larger, you have like more than 50 employees, maybe 100 employees plus, you just have a lot more hands-on. You have different divisions, you have different managers, you have people on different levels that can kind of participate and do things from home and help out. But when you're small, when you're 20 employees, it's really difficult to be able to do that. So I'm going to come work for you now so that I can have unlimited PTO and I can work from home Monday, Tuesday, or, come to
Thursday,
work
Friday. Yeah.
and then take off Thursday, Friday, and then work and improve my golf game because it's been struggling lately. And so I feel like I'd be a good golfer if I had your schedule.
Yeah, you can definitely get some golfing in here in Austin too, because we're like 10 minutes from the UT golf course,
wow.
which is where UT plays. And then there's dozens of golf courses around here. And that's what Alex and I were just talking. Like once I get a break in my schedule, one of these Fridays before it gets like winter in Texas, I would like to take the afternoon off and actually go golfing. Because right now my schedule has just been like, I just have I haven't made it a priority enough. The unlimited PTO thing, it was weird, but like in theory, it should work because if you get your work done and you're doing a good job, then you can have unlimited PTO. Anybody that would take advantage of that probably would not be getting their work done. And we haven't had an issue yet, but I'm going to keep everybody updated on if anybody's taking advantage of unlimited PTO. But it's like a new thing to attract that younger generation. I've had issues with people like even wanting to come to the office and work. And I'm like, dude, the repercussions of COVID still, like this is bullshit. Like we have an office, come into work and work in the office. Now, some of our jobs, you don't necessarily have to be in the office, but most of them, it just builds a better team and it makes things done so much faster. Obviously with the production and manufacturing world, understand that. And I would agree with you, like as you become a bigger company, the certain office personnel probably could have like a flex schedule. I always just feel like things that happen in the rest of the world and the rest of the businesses take like 5 years to get into manufacturing to be part of the norm. So I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years, more people are like, oh, I only want to work half the week in the office. You never know.
I die.
Yeah.
I would die because that means I'm probably going to have to do more things. I mean, I think the more that we start to streamline, automate, things start to become more paperless. I would agree that you would have that flexibility, but I feel like for now, until like manufacturing kind of gets into that wave, it's going to be so hard. And, we're not lawyers. We have to be here. Just like you said, like it builds rapport, it builds camaraderie. It's so nice that I could yell to my intern or to whomever right now and be like, hey, do you have this? I need that. Or have you talked to this customer? I think sometimes it's better that you're just right there versus a Slack message or a phone call away.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. I feel like the most things get done when most of the people are here in the office and I'm just literally shouting, 50 feet away to somebody and like coming into the studio, I'll yell, hey, Alex, go grab my mouse. I forgot it. And he's like 3 offices away and he can just bring it. It's not just me having to do everything myself. So it does lend for some conveniences. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future with the office setting. I've always had, how do you feel about salespeople? Do you have any salespeople that work directly for you right now? That's you? If you had a salesperson, let me understand your viewpoint on this.
Okay.
Would you make them in the office every day?
No.
Okay.
Nope. To me, a salesperson is better off not being here, being on the road, going to see customers, going to see prospects. If they want to be here, they can. I think maybe like 1 or 2 days a week, but the majority of the time they should not be here.
Yeah, because so when I was in sales for 10 years, I had one company I worked at, and they were like, you got to come to the office every day. And I was like, dude, you're paying me to hunt and build your business. I can't do that from in the office. I need to be on the road. I need to be visiting people. If you want me in the office, then I'm not doing my job. So I'm glad to hear that you have that same viewpoint on that.
Yeah,
Because that just kills. You'd be surprised how many people are like, no, you're in sales. There's an office. I want you sitting in that office all day, every day.
Well, I feel like that's the old school, right? So my dad was like that. I remember in the beginning when I was first working for him, oh my God, it was such a struggle to do anything. He would tell me, hey, you're not in the office, like you're leaving again. Like, where are you going? Like, you should be here. You should show face. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to quote? Do you want me to do sales? Like, what do you want me to do? Because me being in the office every day does not do anything for the business in terms of growth. If you want to stay the same, that's fine. I'll stay in this office and just like twiddle around and do LinkedIn stuff, which by the way, he used to complain to my mom all the time that all he would see me do is like be on the computer and that I was wasting time and doing nothing. So, boy, we've come a long way since then. But yeah, I just think that's the old school mentality. I would rather be out. I think networking is such a huge, vital piece of any business. And I think being in the office sometimes doesn't do you any good. It actually does you more harm.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. We've never really heard like the story. So tell me the story of how you went from your dad owning the business, just real quick, because I'm sure you've told it a million times and it's exhausting. Going from your dad owning the business to you now being the president CEO.
Yeah. So I came on the latter half of 2009. I was never supposed to be in the business. And obviously 2008, 2009, recession time, never a good time to be in any sort of business. But my background is chemical engineering and finance. And so I wanted to live this like bougie lifestyle and go do hedge funds and derivatives and be in Wall Street, live in New York, Manhattan. But my dad called me and said, hey, like we're struggling. I need you to probably help me out just for like the interim. I said, fine. So I showed up, obviously knowing absolutely nothing. So I did have to start from the ground up. So I went to shipping, receiving, to inventory management. I worked my way into the front office, learned the payroll side of things, did cost analysis, doing job costing, went into accounting. From accounting, went into CAD and engineering, and just like worked my way up all through it. But of course, you see discrepancies, you see some status quo things, you hear from other people out in the shop, like, oh, this is the way we've always done it. I found a scandal internally. You guys can definitely go look that up. We almost lost the business because of this huge scandal. And so in 2010, like just within like 6 months, I had to really learn manufacturing so quick and fast. And I've always been like a self-starter, and I love challenges. This is probably why I have so much stress and I drink wine like almost every day. No, not almost, like literally every day, just to like combat the stress and stuff. But I had to learn quick, fast, and I wanted to do it the right way. So like I said, I still take classes. I love to learn. I love to be ahead of the game, and I consider myself like a visionary. I love to connect. I love to just do things very, very differently. And so when I was redoing the website and going on LinkedIn and doing all these social media platforms, my dad was just like, oh my God, what are you doing? And so we fought a lot. There was definitely times where he walked out for 2 weeks. There was times where I did it to him and I walked out for 2 weeks and I said, I quit. I don't want to do this anymore. And eventually we got over our egos because we're both very type A. And we learned to work together. And so I would say about 4 years ago, he finally said, you know what, I think you've taken the company in such a great direction. I don't want the stress anymore. So here you go. So here we are today.
That is a great story. I love that. And I love that you're transparent with it, right? Like walking away from the business. I mean, that's not a lot of like second generation people will tell this story like that. I feel like I've always heard like a lot of businesses die in the second generation because they don't do what you did, right? Like they don't actually get into the business. They're just kind of like handed the keys to the castle, or like, oh, they got brought in to only do sales, but they don't know everything. And a lot of times it's like the third generation that comes in and saves things. So it's definitely great to hear that you did what I think is the right way of learning as much as you can about the business, because how could you lead people when you don't know what it is that they do? Like, I feel like that's the most effective way to do it, is to understand their pain and all that stuff and the shit that goes with it.
Yeah.
To be able to say, like, dude, we're here together. Like, I know that sucks to do. It's kind of like when I'm telling Greta, who who's our business development manager, I'm like, all right, we got to do some cold calls. Like, we got a list put together of hot leads. Let's call them up. I hate doing cold calls, but they can be extremely effective. It's just the cost of doing business if you're in sales.
Yeah, and how are you supposed to sell your business if you don't even know what you're doing, right? I mean, especially stuff in manufacturing where everything is so intricate, everything is so precise. You have to know the lingo. You have to know what you're talking about. And I think that's so important. And I learned that as I was learning the business. When I was doing cold calls, I was like, well, I don't really know what I'm really selling. I don't even know what products we make. So that's kind of a problem. And that's when I decided it's time. Like, you can see some of my NIM stuff back there. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I not only know the industry in and out, but like I'm a part of it because I consider myself also a machinist, which is fun. Like I said, I still go out there. I will still run machines. I will still get my hands dirty, full of oil. Like, I don't care. Coolant. I was saying to you earlier, like, this is the third day of dry shampoo day, and that's okay. Like, not everything is so glamorous and what you see all the time, but I definitely get my hands dirty a lot. I've ruined so many clothes, but I love it, right? I mean, I love the smell of oil. I used to make fun of my dad all the time, like, you stink. And he's like, well, that's the cost of doing business. That cologne is making you money. And now that's how I feel too. And when I see the shop is like empty in terms of like someone didn't show up the day and so the machine's not running, like I get sad. I was like, ugh, I love to see the buzz, the energy, and the smell. So that I've turned into a crazy person, I think. But yeah, I think it's important to know your business in and out, and to have empathy for your team. And so when I do go out there and I do stand and I'm on my feet all day long, like, I empathize with how they're feeling. And so then I make corrections, whether it's new mats, whether it's chairs for them to like sit down, whether it's, another extended break. I think it's really important as a leader and a business owner to just put yourself in their shoes.
Yeah, we're gonna come back to that glam comment you made, because I've got a whole topic that we're gonna talk about that. But real quick, Laura is going to bring in some comments that have come through. So Scott says, for a while we couldn't go to a customer's business because of COVID restrictions. Do you find that pretty much everybody is welcoming you as a salesperson now? What are you seeing on your side, Nicole?
Yes. I think everyone is finally excited to get back to normalcy, that people are inviting people back in to their companies. I think the Zoom and the Teams has exhausted everybody. There's nothing like a personal touch and to be with people and to bullshit with people and to like have great dialogue outside of just sales. I think when you have that personal connection, sales becomes so much easier to do and business in general. But yes, I've definitely seen people start to open their doors more. I did have a lot of customers that didn't really care, but the larger ones definitely had a lot of restrictions during COVID. And, it was harder to do sales, to try to get them on Teams or Zoom. I would even do FaceTime sometimes just to kind of like break up the monotony. I know we did it too, Kyle, so that was like fun, but I think it's changing. And I think people really want to get back to what they were used to. I'm seeing more people do events and outings in associations. More people are starting to come to that. So I think we're finally in the clear.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it was two sides of the coin. There's like the technical salespeople, sales engineers that were like itching to get back on the road and sell. But then I can just go back to memories of my old bosses when I first started. Like, that group of people, they were waiting to get back to trade shows and drink, right? And have fun and mix it up with people. Like, that's like when those trade shows started opening up, it was like everybody started going because they wanted some sort of social connection, whether they're going there to actually sell or going there to socialize. Like, they missed that for so long that they desperately needed that human touch element.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to go to IMTS. I'm going to go all week. I can't wait, because it's about networking. It's about being with people. It's about having drinks at like 10 a.m. Like it's almost like in Vegas. Like there are no rules.
Yeah, no rules at IMTS, that is
Yeah.
for sure, especially those bigger shows. All right, Laura, next question. Jessica, our girl Jessica says, thoughts on door-to-door sales dying with COVID? Do you believe that most relationships are built virtually now? Pros and cons. Go for it, Nicole.
I think it's a mixture, right? I think door to door is dead because everyone's so busy. Like I hate when people randomly show up at my door and say, "Oh, can we talk to Nicole?" No, you cannot. I literally time block my entire day, and it's built out for like 6 months. So I don't like when people just show up randomly. I think it also discredits the other person's time. But I do think virtually it's a little easier because of time constraints. It's easier to like kind of jump on for 30 minutes, do like a quick sales pitch, see if anyone's interested, and then move on. But I do think that you have to have both. I just don't think that showing up as like a door-to-door sales tactic is appropriate anymore.
Yeah, I would agree depending on who you're going after, Jessica. I can tell you that at least in my experience when I tracked it, it was about 20% effective of actually getting to talk to somebody. So 80% of the time I go to somebody's door, I ask to speak to somebody in purchasing, commodity management, whatever. 80% of the time they're not available. I tried calling them, whatever, leave whatever you want to leave. 20% of the time I would actually get to talk to somebody. But I think if you go into it being respectful of the person's time, whoever you're going after, if you're going after Nicole, a CEO of a manufacturing company, they're going to be harder to get than somebody that is doing purchasing or engineering. So if you go into it knowing that like Nicole is busy, she just told you, she's just giving you a glimpse into the CEO of a small to medium-sized manufacturing company, what her day is like and what her time schedule is like, go after the engineer, go after somebody in purchasing because maybe they have more time available, but don't go into it like asking for something right away. Just go into it and be like, hey, I've got this to drop off with them. It's trying to go after this thing that is called omnipresence, which is being everywhere all at the same time. So if you are trying to connect with somebody on LinkedIn, if you are email marketing to them, if you have done cold calls to them, if you do a personal visit, if you send something in the mail and you're creating content, eventually they can't help but come across your stuff and at least give you a 30-second look at what it is that you do. And then they'll decide if it's a good fit for them. But people that are only doing door-to-door sales and cold personal visits, if that's your tactic, you will get burnt out quick unless you're used to being told no, like all the time for everything. But I feel like it's a mix of you have to use all the sales and marketing tools at your disposal. Door-to-door sales is one of them. So is cold calling. So is email marketing. So is LinkedIn. But if you just break it up and spread it out across those different methods, but then also trying to connect with people on LinkedIn and produce content. I mean, you can, instead of going door to door, spend the day just shooting quick videos or showing people what it is that you do and then posting that on LinkedIn in the raw, uncut format. I mean, that's super beneficial and you can get people a lot quicker than having to book travel to go into a city and do door-to-door sales.
I agree.
All right, you're nodding your head, so that's good. All right, any other comments, Laura, for now, before we take a quick break?
Who is this?
Oh, this is Nancy. So Nancy Bell says, Nicole, the job you want at MFG Tribe is taken. Sorry, LOL. Yeah, that's Nancy Bell is our marketing manager.
Oh.
So she's throwing you a little bit back. But if you ever move to Austin, you guys need to set up a manufacturing shop down here.
Oh,
and then we'll be super close to you. We could throw a stone.
One of these days.
That would be great. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. Guys, leave comments in the comment section. I think it's going to be, 60 seconds, Laura? 60 to 90 seconds. And then we'll be back to answer any last questions and comments before we get into the last topic of the call.
How would you deal with quarter 1 to 3 having a commission cap?
The question I would ask is why? I would assume that the reason why they're doing that is because they don't know how the year is going to play out possibly, and they don't want to be paying out commission before their year is over when they realize maybe net over the year they're not as profitable as they thought.
How often do you find companies that don't have salespeople?
It depends the speed you want to move, right? If you want to move quickly, you need to have marketing and sales together, pushing as hard as possible at the same time. Marketing's there the support sales, bring in opportunities, or if you're not looking to grow and looking to make exponential changes to your company from a revenue standpoint, then it could be okay to not have salespeople.
Someone asked what you think about sales playbooks for sales staff.
I think playbooks can be good. They can also be very expensive to create. I think if the content is good, allowing your sales engineers and your business development managers to be able to be in the field, traveling, and be able to have everything at their fingertips on an iPad to be able to flip through stuff. Now, it depends on the content.
Put us both up there, Laura. Nobody wants to see me. All right, we're back. We're back. You guys better leave questions in the comment section before we get Nicole off to the rest of her busy ass day. But real quick, we brought you said the topic of glam, right?
Yeah.
So I gotta dive into this.
Okay.
And I know a lot of people out there. You guys better give me these blue thumbs about this. You dudes out there, I know what you've been seeing on LinkedIn a lot lately with these manufacturing women. And so the manufacturing women out there that are taking these photos, getting all, provocative, trying to get attention. We know what you're doing. Sometimes it works. It gets attention. But like the question is, does it actually sell anything? Is a picture of a pretty person in front of whatever, a machine, and then being like, hey, this is me. Does that actually move the needle from a sales or marketing standpoint? Nicole, I want your 2 cents on this.
Oh God. Now I'm going to be
Come
like
on.
a girl hater on other girls.
Yeah.
I don't want to hate on other girls because to me, it's like, it's whatever makes you happy. Get all glammed up, go stand by a machine. I don't give a shit. Like, do you? I can't do that just because I'm just so involved and I'm always out in the shop getting dirty anyways. And I also don't want to portray to everyone at the team that I'm more concerned about being glammed than actually running the business. So today I have makeup on, but I do have dirty hair. And right after this, I'm definitely going to put my hair up in a ponytail and go out to the shop and get going on that stuff. But I don't know. Sex has always sold. I just don't know if it does for manufacturing. If it does, great. I mean, I remember the days at IMTS. I would even say like 10 years ago when I first kind of came back in, because I used to go as like a kid. So 10 years ago, I remember seeing like the girls with like the very, very tight dresses, very short, that would be at these booths and stands and like try to get all the guys to like come to their area. It's actually kind of nice not to see that anymore, just because I feel like it just doesn't do any credibility to women who are working in manufacturing and like working the show and our salespeople or engineers or anything that they're working and doing for certain companies. But it's nice to see kind of the change in things. But for me personally, I can't do that. Would I love to have someone come to my office every day and do my hair and makeup? 1,000%. I would totally be that girl that would have someone take pictures and like airbrush me and do all the things. But that's just not the world that I live in.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Sex sells, right? And you just got to consider the audience. Manufacturing is primarily men, right? A lot of them are in the 35 to 65 range. A picture of a pretty girl in front of a machine is going to get attention. That is tried and true. You can do it. It's like what the kids call thirst trap, right? Like put her back on the screen. I want to get her take on this. Like, about thirst trap. You know all about that from the Instagram and TikTok. Like thirst trap, for those of you that don't know, it's like a guy or a girl is thirsty for something and they're being trapped by a photo or a video. And so like that's where I feel like it's a little bit thirst trappy. It works from a marketing standpoint, but does it actually result in money? I think most of the times it doesn't. It gets attention, which is good, right? Brand awareness. But if you don't have enough content to back it up, to show that you're a leader in whatever it is that you do, I feel like it's just a wasted effort. It's just really just promoting and catering to the person taking the photo. Like if all I sold to was women, then maybe I would have a bunch of hunks running around here and we're taking photos of like, oh, Thursday shirts are optional here at MG Tribe, and let's take a bunch of pictures. Would that get us attention? Yes, but would it actually result into new revenue? Probably not if we didn't already have all the content we produce and show people like we know what we're doing when it comes to industrial marketing. Nobody can touch it and nobody can do better than what we do. But I just feel like I'm getting tired of it. We've got a comment in the comment section from Jessica chiming in she says stop selfies. And look at Jessica, a woman in manufacturing.
Facts.
And she's
facts.
saying,
I know. I love
stop the
Jessica. I
selfie.
want Jessica to be my best friend. She's the real deal. She's the real shit. I love it.
Yeah, I've only chatted with Jessica twice, I think, through Messenger, but we definitely connected. And I'm like, dude, anything you need me to do to help you out for free as you get onto your journey, I will do it because you're badass, and we want to support people that are badass. Any other comments? And Jessica said, manufacturing illustrated calendars. Yeah, it would be. We should do a manufacturing. We should like hype it up that it would be like the pretty people of manufacturing, but then when it gets to the calendar photo, it's a picture of like a screw machine. And then like month 2 is like a CNC machine and not an actual girl in there, just to kind of bait and switch the people that would want to see that.
I'm down for that.
Larry says, sorry if I missed this, but what is HM's #1 pain point? And are you adding robotics, assuming labor is an issue? So what's your #1 pain point? And tell me about that robot you got.
Oh, yeah. So people. Obviously, I feel like a lot of my colleagues in this industry are feeling the same thing. The great resignation. It is real. It is awful. Everyone's being poached. You just can't keep up. I can't tell you how many times in this past year and a half I've gone without an entire workforce out in the shop that showed up every day. And so that's why I say, like, I still go out there, I still run machines because I still need to get product out. And my dad, for the longest time, just didn't believe in automation, didn't believe in robotics, because we are a high mix, low volume shop. And so for him, it was like, well, we turn over so many times a day. There's no point to having it. It's a waste. We just need talent. And I think he finally saw this year, particularly, that like all of our EAUs have gone up, all of our production has gone up, and our capacity is pretty much limited by the people that actually do show up consistently. And so I finally convinced him that it's time. So yeah, we just bought our robot. It's by RoboJob. Shout out to Craig Zabaris and his team. We're really excited about that. We just thought like their application was best for what we need. So we're starting with one machine, and I'm hoping that, these things they get pregnant, right? And then all of a sudden like a new baby pops up. So I hope it continues to multiply, because I think it's just going to be easier to deal with workforce issues and labor issues, and the consistency. I mean, all of my volumes are going up. I can't even hire for second shift because I can't find first shift to be consistent. So it's been a real pain. And, it's not like I'm not paying people well. I've done raises not once, not twice, but now 3 times just this year alone. And no one's making under $22 an hour, which is a lot, especially for things that don't really need that much. But it's been difficult, and we do a lot with benefits. I pay 100% healthcare, and so my costs are rising. And so when people don't show up, it's just kind of an easy way for me to be like, okay, that's fine. You may not show up. I'm going to make sure that like my key people are going to be well taken care of, and I'm just going to bring in a robot. So I think that's just the way of the future. I keep hearing from other people that the shop factories of tomorrow are going to be a guy and a dog, because everything is going to be lights out and you just need one person to program, set up, and that's it. So it's kind of sad at the same token.
Yeah, I mean, and shit's getting expensive, right? Like it's just ridiculous. I feel like everything's just getting ridiculously expensive, not because of inflation and all that stuff. That's a different subject, but just everything's getting more expensive these days. And I'm glad to see that you guys got RoboJob in there to take care of you. I've never personally dealt with them, but definitely shout out to RoboJob. #RoboJob.
Yeah.
Throw some hashtags up there. All right, one comment from Jessica, because she's just all up in this feed. She's still with us. Best friends.
Good.
Best friends. All right. Well, and her last comment is, Nicole, what trade associations is your company, or are you personally a part of? Which is the most beneficial?
Oh, so I'm on like a million boards, I feel like. So the ones that I started off with was TMA, which is Technology Manufacturing Association. And they have been instrumental, not just in my personal growth, but growth for the company, because they do a lot of training. So I send a lot of my team members, whether it's even something as simple as blueprint reading, all the way up to level 3 CNC programming. So I utilize them a lot. Another one, if you're in gear, is AGMA, the American Gear Manufacturing Association. They do a lot of training as well. They have kind of like these little cohorts where you go and you learn about whether it's heat treating, whether it's about gearbox assemblies, whether it's about gears in general, different types of gears, planetary gears, and things like that. So that's been really great too. I've sent a lot of my guys there to understand the differences and what's all needed. And NAM, I'm a board member of NAM, the National Association of Manufacturers. They're great because they're just so large. And so when it comes to policies and things that are going to be for the betterment of manufacturing, it's great to be a part of them because they're just a bigger voice, and they're in Washington, D.C., so they can kind of speak on our behalf. But I would personally find associations that align with what you're trying to do. Are you trying to upskill your team? Are you trying to skill your team? Are you trying to personally grow? I think being a part of manufacturing associations are so key. I talked about the networking part. I've grown a lot just being a part of these associations. And when they ask me to be on these boards, it's so great to kind of hear what some of these larger companies are doing and how they've been implementing change, robotics, automation, ERP systems. You can learn a lot from your colleagues. And so I think it's really, really imperative to be a part of these trade associations.
Awesome. Thank you guys, everybody, for leaving comments in the comment section. So I just have one last question for Nicole and then one offer. So the question is, did you have fun on this, Nicole?
This was okay.
This is okay. All right. So maybe I'm going to revoke my offer, but I've got an offer for you. So if you're open to it, if we came to Chicago, because that's my old stomping grounds for those of you that follow my stuff, I'm from Chicago. If we came down there with a crew, would you be open to a free full day video shoot and us make like 10 to 12 videos for you for free to do some marketing? You guys can do whatever you want with the videos.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Of course. That is so badass. Thank you.
Right. We're going to do it. I don't think that we have any plans to come down to Chicago immediate, but we can make an exception and work it into our schedule for the next couple of months. Basically, we'll come down, shoot a full day, interview content, interview your team, B-roll footage, and in the end, you'll get probably 6 full-length videos and 6 shorter videos, 1 minute or less, to push out on social, and it'll be some badass stuff. Because I feel like we need to push you guys hard because you guys are awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I love the
All
vibe. I'm here for it. And then I'll reciprocate and I'll take you golfing.
Yeah, let's do it. So then that means we're gonna have to get down there before winter starts in like September in Chicago.
Right? I know. Well, we had a late summer, so maybe it'll kind of carry over into October, but who knows?
Yeah, maybe. And then you guys will have snow again next April or May like you did this past year, which is ridiculous. Greta says bring the crew down.
Greta says bring down the crew. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, Greta. So Greta, for those of you who don't know, is our biz dev manager. She's based in Chicago. She knows everybody who's anybody. If you don't know Greta, I feel like, what are you doing? If you haven't come across Greta in your industrial career in the Midwest, I don't even know what you've been doing.
Snoozing.
Yeah, probably snoozing. So that's going to be it for this episode. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to have to definitely circle back with you in the future and see what has changed.
Awesome.
But for everybody else, this video will be up on YouTube if you want to watch the whole thing. Subscribe to both of us on LinkedIn. Follow us. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Turn on notifications, and we will see you on the next one.